Win for Spirit. We always talk about the fact that there is something special about a Spirit that makes it to the main stage of TI, what they're able to do for themselves. And it's no different. We posed the question, how tough is it going to be to play the first series and the final series in such a long day? And for Spirit, it feels like this is actually, they've just woken up. They're ready and they're eager to get back out there.
I'm going to call a spade a spade. That was an outclassing. They made them look like fools. They outplayed them at every step of the way, I think, in draft, in gameplay, in vibe, and atmosphere, and resilience. I think this was a team spirit late in the international masterclass.
I feel like Spirit mentioned this during their TI-10 run, but for them, I remember in their vlog, it's something about, or maybe it's the true side even, where they say that it's all about drafts. That's all it is. We just have to get the right draft, and then we got the gameplay unlocked. And this is like, I think, very typical for them that they struggle a lot with finding what the right heroes for them are. And in this game, you can see they got all the right heroes in all the right positions, and it's very easy for them to then take a game and just absolutely run with it.
Yeah, and it's very Spirit energy to pick a hero DOTA2 hasn't played the entire tournament, like in the Tiny, when they need it most versus Alina, and have it look like he's been playing it every day since the group stages. It really did look like that. And I love that Spirit approached this draft with the idea of, okay, this is what they're doing, this is how we're going to respond. So they see the Lina, like we're drafting stuns, we're going in with our Slardar, we're going in with our Tiny, we're going in with our Ember, and we're not going to let GPK play his game.
I do remember one thing that was said during the draft, because that was a lot, but one specific thing was what you said, Quid. If you give this Rubik Laguna Blade, may as well call GG there, and unfortunately that did happen, but to the privilege of everyone watching at home, we now get to see what you mean when you give Rubik Laguna Blade.
Yeah, Laguna, LSA, it's a good matchup, and not me. I mean, he played out of his gourd, 2-1 and 21. And I love what Mira said about the Slardar. She's been hitting on the head today, and I think this matchup against Alina is really abysmal. I think we've seen it multiple times today, and I think it's something the teams need to catch on a little bit more too, that if you're going to pick this hero, you either need to ban or pick the Slardar, because this matchup is actually not acceptable. We have not seen anyone play to fix it. This is the first pick Alina. You're most confident here. You're like, you can't counter this. And then 3, 5, and 2 is the scoreline. These two things do not align.
It's so interesting how the meta has developed this international, where Lina has been picked first ban for a lot of the group stages. Slardar, a hero who was popular only 1 month ago, kind of fell off. We don't see him that contested. Then all of a sudden, Slardar has been the solution all along to Lina's. When did this happen? Why did people take so long to figure it out? That's the beauty of the international.
Yeah, for sure. And it's the beauty of Team Spirit, I would say. They are one of the teams that they try to counter what the concept of your draft does, instead of just answering one-to-one heroes. I'm sure Boom Boys were doing their prep, and they Boom Boys were doing their prep yesterday, and they were thinking about bad matchups for Lina, and they were like, DK, I can play into that, Ember, I can play into that, and they absolutely do not care about any of that stuff. But I doubt Slardar crossed their mind, because it's one of those Spirit things where you're thinking outside of the box, you're thinking outside of the norm. Normally you see a mid laner, you want to answer with a mid laner.
honestly, I go back to groups, and Slaughter was banned so consistently against Spirit, and we always talked about it. It's like, we know that that is a hero that they're comfortable on. We know it's well within their wheelhouse, but no one was really prepared for what they were able to do with it. And then it's been handed out throughout the day today here at the main stage, and you're like, okay, guys, we got to, again, go back to that phase in which we felt like we had to ban out the Slaughter.
Yeah, honestly, it's one of my favorite parts about the Spirit team when they get really good is what Aiden said, the way they draft is so cool that they didn't first pick the Slaughter. They're not rushing it. They're picking it whenever it conceptually counterpicks what you do. So many teams, you look at like a Falcons or a Boom Boys or an Aurora, teams like these, they pick what they're going to pick and they run it until the wheels come off. Spirit says, I don't care how many wheels you have, we're going to pick what is good against what you're picking. We're not going to pick the same thing every time. This is a 4-course meal. We're not serving the same dish every day.
We're going to look at, I don't even know. What, a 4-course? What was it?
4-course meal.
Okay, well, we've only done 1 course of the 4-course meal. That's with the paddle. We're going to have the 2nd course with Purge talking about the Slaughter.
Thank you, guys. Lots to feed you over here. The Slardar had a fantastic laning stage, which is great because his net worth was so high. And this is a little bit atypical if you're not playing mid. Off-lane Slardars are a little bit less effective usually. So because he was ahead and he got this Blink Dagger at 12 minutes, he gets to terrorize the map, which he did very, very successfully here. First jump here, killing the Hoodwink. Check out this really cool tree cut by Not Me using the Quelling Blade so that he can sneak in behind towards GPK, getting the chain disable. He steals Laguna Blade, which is very flashy, but it only does 400 magic damage, unfortunately. But still, the pressure is fantastic, and Collapse is going to back up briefly, and with a 3rd bash again, is once again going to find another hero on the map. And immediately afterwards, he says, I'm not done yet, because his purpose in this game right now is to pressure as much as he can and to make his opponents not be able to play the map. So he goes to a camp, he gets his bash primed, ready to go, and he again finds a Hoodwink. They still haven't killed the tier 1 tower yet, and they're playing all the way by tier 2s, which is incredible. They killed the tier 1 shortly after this, and immediately as that's finished, they do the the map really quick. If they basically just restrict this area here and this area here, it's really inefficient for the Radiant heroes. They basically have to go like this to here, or they have to do some wild thing, or it's difficult to invade in that area. It becomes very, very scary. So the last fight that ends up happening that's really, really impactful here is when Spirit finally lets their opponents kind of get out on the map. They kind of bait them into their observer ward. So they have good vision, which makes their initiation a lot better. And this all started from pressure into forcing Boom Boys to feel like they have to get something done, and then they play them into a ward. They just completely serve them up on a platter. That's my last food analogy. I got nothing left for me. Back to you guys.
Thank you so much for breaking it all down, dissecting it, and definitely enjoying what you had there on offer. And it's such a simple concept, right? When you talk about it, overtake an area, plant some vision there, ensure that your enemies can't take it back. But we see it take it to the next level with Spirit. They take over that triangle like Pudge is talking about. They move back, and you think if you're Boom Boys, okay, we've seen them in the bottom. This is our chance to take back the try. And Spirit take it one next level, and they go, actually, we're going to move back up that way, and you're also not going to get to deal with that one. So it feels so crummy as a support, Aiden, when you're just like, what do I do? Because now I can't even do the basics of dewarding.
Yeah, it ties back to their concept. They love to bait you in. That's what they love to do. They will bait you in. And in this case, they're baiting you in with a ward. Do you think this ward is free? We're going to come here and slap you.
It was very masterfully done. I mean, for a good portion of this game, there were only 2 kills for like 12 minutes. There was some movements mid where Team Spirit supports came to help Laurel, and then Boom Boys' supports came and they countered, and it felt like maybe things would have to happen after that, but there was a lot of farming going on and a lot of patience, and what ended up happening was Spirit drafted for very strong side lanes. Unfortunately, the last pick TA didn't shut down the Slardar, so all they had to do was sit back and wait, and whenever Slardar was ready to enter the game, then they could push Lina away from the mid lane, which is what we saw in Purge's clips. And then when Tiny was ready to enter the game, TA had no game.
Yep, that's how you do it. Easy as that.
I mean, I think it goes
Do it all
back
the time.
it goes back to what Aiden said, in that Spirit talked about in their vlogs is all about the draft. And I think for Boom Boys going into next game, you need something that's easier to execute. You need something that scales better. You know Spirit likes to play a long game. We know Boom Boys is not a team that snowballs the game super quickly. They win lanes, they do well in lanes, and then they farm a lot. And so if we're going to be farming a lot, if both teams want to do that, then you need something that goes the distance, because their heroes simply do not go the distance this game. It just doesn't suit them. It's not how they're going to win this series. And I think they have to alter fundamentally how they're heading into the game so the gameplay can work at all.
I do have some more questions then about Spirit's draft, because we have seen time and time again that there are two cores that like to be a bit of the tankier guy. They like to be the blink, stun, initiate. But to have two of that same role on the roster has fallen short before. But why does it work here with a Slider and a Tiny that feel like they're almost overlapping in that regard?
That's a great question, and I think it's a lot because you have a mix of damage in your other heroes. You've got two ranged supports who both got magic damage. You've got Ember who's got magic damage. And against some lineups, when you commit into the middle of them, say you're playing against an Underlord, well, you both jump in, you get double pitted together, and you're stuck and you die. Compared to you're playing against a squishy Lina or a squishy TA, you jump and you kill this guy, well, they explode like that, and the turnaround is not there that flips it in the same way. And so I think it's a masterclass for Spirit in recognizing what the enemy heroes have, and they don't have the capability to turn this around. And so in a case where double melee has been losing a lot, it works in this case because we can actually kill the heroes when we jump them.
And to add on top of that, the thing that you were talking about, it wasn't just to address the Lina. They ended up picking a TA who's also solved by jumping on her. Like, until she gets to a point where she has her Hurricane Pike and her BKB and her 1 damage item, if she's getting jumped by Tiny Slardar, she's also dead. So both of their cores were countered by the same thing for the period of the game that we watched.
And even to further add to that, I feel like what Spirit does is they amplified each other. They just keep amplifying each other's heroes. But if you look at Boom Boy's heroes, you don't have that. Where's TA's amp? There's nobody making TA stronger than what TA just is as a base model. There's nobody making Lina stronger than what she has as a base model. And the same thing for the Sunpower. Like, these three heroes don't have inherent synergies the same way, like, hey, I'm going to make my Tiny deal 3 times as much damage by removing a bunch of armor does.
Yeah, and it's a concept that I think is very crucial to Pro Dota, but also to TI. If you think back to some of the most dominant teams of all time, you think back to OG, a lot of their strategies at TI9 and TI8 was you pick Treant with Spectre, this hero that's already tanking, going in the middle of the fight. You give them armor on top of that, and you amplify their strengths. And I think, especially whenever you've got star players like both these teams do, you want heroes that make other people's games better. You want to highlight your teammates and amplify them, and I think that pays dividends then back to you, and it's cyclical. And so I think for Spirit, they amplified each other much better this game, and Boom Boys needs to look to do that better next game.
The Coddle sticks out for me, not necessarily because of what you guys are talking about, but because we saw it played recently today. We saw it in our previous series, and it was just a pop-off hero in a way that we saw it doing so much in the map. The item progression as well was so impactful, the way that it was able to turn team fights. What was such a struggle that Save's Coddle couldn't necessarily get to that point of having that much gold, having that impact as well?
Spirit just never lets them get to that point, right? Coddle, like, if you think about it in the same way, it amplifies if you have tanky heroes that you can keep healing, and they don't get there.
And where's this kill combo? Where's his Ember that he's refreshing the spells for?
Well, hopefully those heroes will come if they get their hands on a Coddle again. But both of our teams taking to the stage, and with Spirit 1 game up here, it's elimination or a top 3. There are no other options for them here, and everyone wants to be able to make it to the last day of main stage TI. Everyone wants to be able to make it to the grand finals. And Spirit, this is the tough thing when you come up against them. They've been able to win TI from the upper bracket and the lower bracket. So at this point, does it really feel like you have an answer as to how to best them when it's this close to the end?
Yeah, we need to craft a secret third bracket they haven't explored yet. I fully agree, and I think for Boom Boys, this is the toughest spot for them in tournaments. They're a team that is always top 4. They're always one of the contenders, but are they the winner that often? I think that is typically where they fall short against these teams that are, consistent tournament winners. Boom Boys has a history of falling a little bit shy, and Spirit are like the poster child for clutching up and winning the tournament. And so I think Boom Boys, this is a moment to prove to everyone that, hey, we're not like that. We have what it takes on the biggest stage.
It is a bit tragic for them because when you look at Boom Boys' history versus Team Spirit this year, they had their number. They actually won most of their series and their matches up against them, but at the International, Spirit are just a different kind of beast. And I truly believe that if Boom Boys were against any other team in this lower bracket, they would not be in this position right now, and that's got to feel bad. But at the same time, this is one of the hurdles that you have to overcome if you're going to be the champion here, and I believe that they have something else to show us than what we saw in that game one. There's more to Boom Boys than that.
I mean, I think they have ways to enable GPK, right? If he wants to play the Lina, ban out the Slardar. I don't really know what hero you would replace it with. And it seems like in a lot of these situations, we had some Embers playing up against Slarks in previous games. Like, teams are maybe being a bit stubborn or caught off guard in this case with the Slardar and how effective it actually is versus the Lina, that they don't decide to ban it out. But if you do ban it out, it's suddenly a completely new game. And you're asking Spirit to counter your concept in a new way that they haven't seen. We haven't seen proved here at TI before.
Yeah, I think that was also a fantastic read or call from Spirit in game number 1, was the fact that they see the Lina pick, and even though there is a potential for a flex, they go, not on Boom Boys, that's already their mid displayed, and so we don't have to worry about this Slark potentially coming out. So I love that adjustment for them, but I have full faith Boom Boys will make the adjustment. When I look at every series they played here on the main stage, it has gone to a 3rd game. So if anything, if history were to repeat itself, this should be a game that Boom Boys are more comfortable playing than a game number 1 against Spirit.
Yeah, and you have to keep in mind that the draft is done before the game, obviously. But whenever that means whenever you go into a booth, if you have a lot of nerves and you have a lot of tension, well, the first thing that's going to affect, it's going to affect the draft before the gameplay. And so that's where sometimes where a lot of that tension goes, and you can bungle a game on draft because your anxiety is not actually going into the game. It's not affecting your gameplay, but it's screwing you before you even get to the game. And so I think now they've gotten some of those nerves out of the way. Okay, we drop game 1, anxiety is gone, and you can focus on what is a big part of the Dota game that is the draft.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, Dota always starts out 0-0. It's the same game. There's nothing's changed. Game 1 does not affect Game 2 in any way, shape, way, or form. And it's important to come in with the game with that mindset. And obviously, these guys have been here so many times. I'm sure they're going to be able to reset just fine.
Yeah. Although I do have to bring up the history of Boom Boys as a team and how they always come so close, and typically their problems in the past has always been anxiety at LAN tournaments, making it so far but not being able to do it, and this is where they're most tested.
It's a test for sure, one that they've studied hard for, and one that a lot of people believe that they have the preparation and the answers for. But at the end of the day, you are 1 game down, facing elimination, and a lot is on the line for game number 2.
Boom Boys versus Team Spirit.
It is Boom Boys that are going to have a slight advantage in getting what hopefully is going to be a pivotal point, a strong foundation in their draft and build up to a win.
10 seconds remaining.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what they go for, and I like that Spirit continues to first ban the IO, and they're going to swap things around and take the Wyvern themselves. I think this is very solid, and Kataomi is one of the players that first popularized this hero whenever it sort of had its rise to resurgence. He is kind of the Wyvern guy that played it before it was cool. Than him.
It's kind of funny. He actually used to be a position 4 player when he first came up, and he would play this hero like as a carry from the 4 position. I'm sure everybody's seen this guy in your. That used to be him once upon a time.
Yeah, I remember NTT. While he did own on the Slark today, maybe if Spirit go for some Night Stalker like they did the other day, like as a theory craft versus a Slark, then they could be discouraged from it.
5 seconds
Are
remaining.
you thinking like Yatoro Ember? We get to see a new hero unlocked?
No, I'm thinking that they don't mind if Slark comes out on Spirit because they have this Night Stalker pick up their pool for
Okay.
collapse.
Like you try to concept counter
Yes.
instead of lane counter. All right. Personally, I think the Ember Slark specifically might be so bad that that kind of approach actually doesn't work.
I think the Night Stalker is cool though, and I think if you were gonna try to go that approach, you need to help the Ember's itemization. I think we saw what you talked about when we saw. Okay, they banned the Slark, but like I think. So he couldn't just have the Ghost Scepter and just be this tanky guy who goes in and say, okay, Slark pounces me, I press Ghost Scepter, and we waste each other's time, and it's sort of a net draw. So I think you would have had to itemize in that direction, but banning it to me is the safer path.
Against and recognizing like this is their strength, this is what they play for, and for that reason we're not going to put them in a position that they're happy in.
And Spirit have left Lina in the pool for GPK, and if Boom Boys want to run it back, they could just pick Lina plus Slardar out of phase and get rid of the Slardar threat.
It's an interesting idea, and also like Spirit potentially trying to pick the Slardar early here means that you're playing it into a Winter Wyvern, which is traditionally a very good hero against you. You're all about physical damage, not just your own, you also want to amplify somebody else's, and Wyvern counters all of that.
Yeah, we've also seen GPK play the Slaughter themselves, so it'll be a flex for them going into the end of the phase. It's interesting to me now that they pick Rubik even whenever, like, it's probably okay against Wyvern, but it doesn't seem particularly crazy to me. And so I think this to me is like a not me saying, hey, I'm kind of feeling myself. I was owning that game. Just give me the Rubik again. I just want to play it. And they acquiesce and say, hey, you did cook. Here's the, here's the pot and pans.
10
And Winter's
seconds
Curse
remaining.
is a big one to steal if you can, but Rubik also just covers for
5
Doom. We've
seconds
seen this yesterday
remaining.
as well. Like, if you have a Rubik, you can comfortably set up for a Doom later in your phase because you can't give the
Dire
enemy
Doom
Rubik.
big.
Or an Underlord even.
Yeah, I actually think it's very much related to the Underlord that you bring up. Ember hates playing
Radiant
against it. You pick the
big.
Rubik, that way you've covered off that angle. And that's one of the best things with Rubik. I think whenever people see Rubik, they freak out and they don't want to pick any heroes that could give him any spells in any position ever. So suddenly the hero pool that you're drafting from is a lot smaller. And that's exactly what Rubik does for them when you pick it this early.
Yeah.
10 seconds remaining.
I think it's interesting that they opt for the Invoker against the Ember. People have
5
sort of
seconds
chosen a path
remaining.
this tournament of we're not actually going to try to counter Ember in lane. We're going to pick something that's good for the game ourselves. Whereas traditionally you'd see Necrophos, Huskar, Viper, stuff that stomps Ember early and prevents him from ever getting online. And I tend to think that's a better approach. This hero on Ember is so powerful when you get off the ground running that just giving up free lane every game is kind of strange to me. I don't know if I agree with that approach.
I also don't think of GPK as like a traditional Invoker.
Whoa,
player in
whoa,
that way.
whoa, whoa, whoa.
Am I wrong?
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Let Mira educate you right now, Insania. Get ready for a lesson, a
GPK
schooling of kind.
GPK Invoker is goated. It's one of the best, and I've seen him so many times in TI elimination games pick Invoker as his go-to, as his comfort hero to put the game on his back. Like, this is what he does when he's like, I don't want to get eliminated. I will carry you. Give this to me. You take Tiny or Sven Kiritich, you press stun, I will carry.
Leave the carrying to me. All right, cool. I mean, I'm excited for it. I mean, it's also, I think, related again. Once again, we have to take a look at the bans, right? Like, I think GPK is somebody that would gladly play Shadow Fiend against some Ember mid. He would gladly pick one of these like super strong stompy heroes and just absolutely run Ember over. But I think the heroes that he enjoys playing are both banned out. And here comes the Underlord for Spirit, which is set up by the Rubik earlier. I have been a huge fan of this hero throughout this tournament. I feel like he offers so many things. It's a lot of instant disable. And something I guess we don't actually talk that much about, but stuns coming out really fast or roots coming out really fast
seconds
has
remaining.
tremendous value because all these like heroes that you want to pick that are
5 seconds
able to get away if they just have
remaining.
a slight bit of time, instantly countered.
I mean, even when you get later, right, the Zuma reactions for the BKBs as well, if it just takes that one extra little bit of a millisecond to cast or to get it off, that's enough for the core to be able to walk away scot-free.
Yep.
A hook shot, but it made sense.
And now I wonder, Boom Boys, you want something that scales well, but you also want to fit into that typical archetype of we want to do well in lanes. That's what they're built upon. I think you want to strike a nice balance because, to be honest, Boomboys, you know, we talked about it before, but I think when you're such good laners like they are, you can dip a little bit better into the late game and let your skill carry you through the lanes. This is a weird one. I don't actually quite understand why they picked this.
I personally don't like it that much into Underlord because you will buy the Saganums, you'll have your own pit, so it's essentially like pit, and you can't really stampede out of fights easily. So it's a little bit tricky. I feel like this might be one of those things where they looked at the heroes and they don't really have like a clear hero that they super want, and they went with what they think is comfortable.
And my take on this is they want this Invoker to be their win condition. They want GPK to carry the game, and for that, they're looking towards the lanes and setting up for Sunstrike kills. Like, to them, that was the priority. So we're going to have a stun on one side lane and a stun on the other, and we're going to make sure this Invoker gets as flat as possible, which is why I wouldn't be surprised if we see Alec Tiny or Sven come out for the other lane, because if they don't get these Sunstrikes going, we've seen time and time again Invoker just lose in tempo to the Spirits.
That's a good point.
Radiant
I will say, however, Underlord extremely effective at killing all 3 of those safe lane carries. So I would be a little bit scared, personally, to pick any of those. We used to always consider Underlord a massive counter to the Mickey Tiny, and then that leaves the Alk and the Sven that they could potentially ban out on Spirit if they're scared of.
It's an odd situation. They banned the Necro, which I think is also quite a good shout. Kiritich actually has a bit of an unusual carry hero pool in some ways. He plays the IO and the Necrophos. I think those are some actually his best heroes. He's played this tournament, and so I like you can also see sort of the regional rivalry. I think that the more like deep cut heroes that a lot of other teams are not prioritizing right now, that they know, hey, we know what this guy likes. We played against him for years, whether it's in pubs or teams in the tier 2 scene, the tier 1 scene before they were coming up. And so I think like bans like that show you're banning for the player, not just the objective draft.
Also a hero that really fits Boomboy's concept, right? It's a lane-dominating hero. I think Spirit right now feel quite happy with the position that they're in the draft, and they don't want something to come in on this last pick that messes up their concepts and doesn't let them play their heroes.
Yeah, which begs the question, we're back in sort of that double carry last pick we had last game, so both clearly prioritizing the 2 men on the split screen. And I have to feel like that Spirit last time definitely got the better end of it, and they didn't even have the last overall. They had the one before that. And so I wonder, now that the script is flipped, maybe the second to last pick is actually preferable because there's so few carries left that you get, let me get the first grab, and then you're left with the leftovers.
10
It does feel like they
remaining.
need a ranged carry with the clockwork, but they need a ranged carry with a good BKB timing, which is a little bit odd because you need that BKB versus Invoker and you want to start snowballing. And that doesn't really happen with Jawas and TAs so much. It's usually the Svens and whatnot.
That's a good point. I'm trying to think, what would I want to pick if I'm Boomboys?
They're not sure either. Like, this is quite a bit of reserve time used. I mean, you see Kiritich literally scratching his head.
Yeah.
I don't know if they know fully, and some of this may come down to the pressure, right? It's DI, the clock is ticking down. And sometimes when you're the last pick, it can be more of a burden than a boon in that, like, your team is waiting. Do you have some great, awesome pick, and you're thinking, and maybe you're not sure, and the clock is ticking, you keep looking, and it's going down. Oh, I need to think of something really good. Oh, this isn't so good in lane, and someone gives a suggestion. There's just a lot happening. It's so much, and it floods your mind, and you've got to make a call. You've got to be the clutch guy.
I mean, I could see Ursa, but I feel like this hero hasn't been good. It's like conceptually good against what he's going up against, but the hero's just weak.
Holy
smokes.
Oh,
Whoa!
A jug?
All right, so positives for Jug. He doesn't really die, so they have a lot of roots. If you look at Team Spirit, Ember root, Underlord root, none of these spells really affect him. He buys Mantha. He has the Spin, so he essentially has 2 get out of jail for free cards. The only stun that's there is Hookshot and Rubik Lift, and neither of them are like amazing lockdowns to kill a carry from full HP to nothing. So he has that going for him. Healing Ward is also an extremely effective skill to deal with slow damage, and if you look at Spirit, it's not that much burst. A lot of the damage is going to build over time, so he has those 2 things going for himself, so there is value to the pick here.
Does that hit the timing of what you're talking about as well, Mira, where you're like, they want someone with a BKB timing that feels comfortable?
Yeah, I was talking about that in reference to Spirit, but the same thing applies. The same thing applies for the Juggernaut. He gets it for free, right? So you can comfortably play into all of these routes that Insania talked about. And the TA comes out, that's the BKB carry that's going to be ranged, playing with the clockwork. Again, I'm not the biggest fan of this hero, but she's going to be very effective in providing burst damage. Insania talked about how the healing ward is going to be sustaining them a lot while the rest of the damage is slow. This is your hero that's going to try to kill them before they get healed up.
I want to give you guys a fun little stat about what we've just seen, by the way, where we've seen a team or a player play a certain carry hero, lose with it, and then it is immediately picked up by the opposing carry player to end up losing. It has already happened 3 times this TI, and in an elimination best of 3, Yotoro, who was one of those statistics, goes back to it and says, this time around, guys, I promise I will win on it, and I will show you a good TA.
I like it in this instance, though, because if you look at Boomboy's heroes, they have some heroes that are very committal or want you to clump. They've got a Centaur who's going to blink in and stun. They've got a Winter Wyvern who wants you to group up for Curse. And if you look at Spirit's heroes, look how spaced out they are. Ember is floating around or chainsing you from far away. Rubik is super far away. You don't see him. Underlord is in another dimension, and he portals to you. Clockwork is rocketing you, and Tia has traps. They're not. None of their heroes are near you. We go back to the first hero you pick. Spirit conceptually counterpicks you. This Wyvern is looking at the most miserable draft of his life, and because of that, I like the TA pick.
And I think the Juggernaut is cool and interesting, and I'm excited to see what it can do because it's not a traditional hero, but it can definitely outscale the heroes on Spirit.
I think Juggernaut might be too much of a traditional hero, and maybe should not even make any more appearances because he's been left behind in time. But hopefully, you know, I'm wrong, and I would love to see Boomboys win this game and prove us all wrong. I hope the GPK Invoker makes me think of Miracle and makes me happy to see it.
Is there a certain timing that you're necessarily looking for in Sanio when it comes to Boomboys playing through that jump?
I feel like with Juggernaut, if you're able to extract like a lot of stuff from his early game, that's the best way to play it.
All right, well, we're going to see how our teams or our coaches are feeling about this Juggernaut, because even though they didn't pick it, I'm sure they have a lot of thoughts about it. It's Miposhka standing by with Tsunami.
That's exactly what I had on my mind. Miposhka, Boomboys picking Juggernaut. You told me before we started the interview, it's not bad. Give me the reason.
No, that hero is not bad into lane against Underlord because he can always because of his killing work, he can always regen up, and he also can dodge his Firestorm. So he's not gonna be harassed very much in lane, and also it's healing work strong against Ember because our draft is more like on harass, poke, and healing work just gonna restore their resources
30 seconds to
after our
battle.
poke. So Jagger is okay. It's a good pick, I think, for them.
But I'm seeing that even though some heroes can be good picks, they are just not good in general, because we've seen Puck show up on the main stage quite a bit. There's no catch on the enemy team, and still the Puck will lose because the numbers just aren't good enough. Do you feel like Jug is in a playable state right now, or you think that maybe the spells aren't going to be able to carry Jug to success?
About Puck, I think this hero is
want a
just
nice,
not strong overall
clean
because of
fight.
meta. Like a lot heroes always farming a lot. They farming a lot of items, so they always has a lot of HP, and it's very hard for Puck to deal enough damage to kill them. They always restore their HP later, and something like that. Also, the hero need to farm a lot. He can't really make some moves, and he can't enable many strong supports right now in this meta. So Puck is just the hero, I think. But in this game, they have, I think, much better draft. It's not only about like how you play in general. It's more about draft. But in the, previous games, they had just worse draft. In World, I think they cannot do anything. That's why game was so easy. But in this game, they have much more better draft. So game would be much more interesting.
Well, then let's watch this interesting game as we get into game number 2.
I think Miposhka might have just been biding his time until Team Spirit finally claimed first blood, which they did. Collapse manages to find it once again. They got it last time, right? In game 1 with the Slardar. So Team Spirit, once again, cooking in lanes, probably overperforming in lanes. I do like how gracious he was about Boomboy's pickup of the Juggernaut.
Yeah,
Actually a legit hero.
it's nice to hear, yeah. And this idea of the counter pick, having the healing award, and then his opinion on some of the other meta heroes. Like, I mean, I don't blame Tsunami one bit. You hold that mic there. That's Miposhka speaking.
That's
you know?
right.
You let him keep on going. The game can wait.
The GOAT wants to talk, let him talk.
Let him go. You know, sometimes he's begging for long answers like that. He's not going to leave one hanging there.
The contrast with the other interview, yeah, he might have been happy with somebody who's willing to say more than 3 words in a sentence, but Team Spirit already off to a great start when it comes to their off lane. How are these other lanes going to fare? We've got the Ember Spirit versus the Invoker down here. We've got the TA Clockwork up against the Centaur plus Hoodwink. Dave rocking something that's going to be a bit more active and a kill comp with the Centaur, which I do appreciate.
Yeah, I think this is essentially the antithesis of playing light. Even light, you know, a very strong hero. The first game. They can just push out the waves a little bit, like this gives Save a little bit more impact.
Trying to push him off Yutoro. Great use of the cog so far by Rue. That was quite well done because Yutoro almost dying there. A combination, pushback, stomp, potential sunstrike over the top. Unfortunately, Yutoro did dodge that one, so Boom Boys miss out. An equal kill, but it looks like two off lanes are going to maybe win.
Structures are fortified.
I mean, you definitely know what you're getting as a Spirit, right? Like, Centaur Hoodwink. This has to be the most common lane of the entire tournament.
Well, Laurel and GPK are just pushing it to the limits over here.
How do the balloons impact that play, Cap? What's the strat there?
I don't know. I kind of got spooked by them.
He was just shocking them there. I think he was just trying to mash all his heels and everything, the sticks, and just flailing all over the buttons there.
Pop the fairy fire, pop the stick, everything.
Yeah, throw the balloons, you know. I think settles back down though. Annoying.
Okay, gonna chase after him. Oh, hiding behind the tree, hiding behind the tree. GPK taking a lot of damage from the creeps. Laurel looked like he wanted to try and hunt him down to get a slight. He does have mana for slight chains again, so GPK's got to be careful. He's got the Quas, he's got a water rune coming up, so maybe he'll be fine or not. Not me will make sure to take that one away. Tries to protect it, but it does get denied by the Forge Spirit. So Laurel does not get a refill on the bottle, and we will stay at this very precarious stalemate mid lane. Oh, we got double pushed by the cogs. One into the other. Almost ended up on the wrong side of the cliff area where the Ember Spirit could have hunted him down, but unfortunately, Save will get away.
At least keeps him away from the bounty room, so they're often going to bottle that up, get Umbra brief here in the mid lane. And good news, I'd say, as well for Yadoro, too. Gets him into a 1v1 versus the Centaur, a little bit more comfortable. Obviously, Centaur is going to be able to farm and trade all right, but you're okay if you're trading evenly.
Juggernaut totally free farm. What you want to see if they pick this hero specifically for the lane. The panel talked about how important it is for Boom Boys. It's always been a big part of their identity. Winning lanes, leads coming away neutral. It feels like if you watch Boom Boys and they lose lanes, oh, you're in big time trouble. But this time around, they're walking away with an all-right DS situation.
I don't have GVK too far behind. It is the Invoker, so a mid that's known to be a little bit slower. Maybe not playing his typical style. He likes to get his hands a little dirty, and this time you just throw some Sunstrikes. You farm it towards your Meteor Hammer. We're going to go and stack some Ancients. Farm your way into the game that way, so you have to be a little more patient. Yeah, Nami has been roaming back here for a long time.
Way around. Laurel maybe trying to bait him in a little bit. Not me. He's going to show up, much to GPK's surprise. Rocket Flare, Blood Grenade, toss him back into the flames of Laurel. Finish him off, and they've got the heroes here to be able to perhaps secure Power Room.
Kind of
able to split it up.
Patented Wyvern does find the ward in behind. Leave it there.
Power Rune. Full refill. It's going to be Haste Rune pop. So back to base. Even with the harassment of the Arctic Burn, he'll be full. Something that our Ember Spirit game won. Not really get the opportunity to do. Back over to Yutoro. Ooh, the bushwhack off the mark there. Sunstrike still gonna land, and Yutoro would certainly be dead if bushwhack landed. Looks like he'll die either way.
No out snap play here. CBK gets down here. Another blood grenade.
Hits him with one cog. Another round. A second cog. Lands. Not me. Coming in from the side. Fateful telekinesis once again, and Laurel zooming all around. You've already used the tornado. Nothing to dispel the power of this power.
Dyer's middle tower.
Look at the run. He's gonna go for the Wisdom Shrine too.
Ooh, okay, Laurel trying to make something extra out of this play. And I mean, who's here? Save is nearby.
Yeah, the Centaur is going to have to come back and try and fight this Ember Spirit, who has Flame Guard off cooldown. Dave, all you can really hope for is you bushwhack, pull him off of this with the vacuum F-like effect, but otherwise, I just don't see how they're going to be able to battle it out. I mean, the Evoker, Sunstrike can help. It'll get Laurel a little bit low. Maybe it'll scare him away. Cox pushing Hero off of it, but here comes the Templar Assassin and the Collect. You've got the Underlord Gate even on top of that. There was just no possible way
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
And look at you, Toro. He's going to push into the side lane area and take the stack. That is so smart.
All right, that is definitely an evolution of what has happened at this tournament. These camps have really told a full story for the offlane, where we started with like the constant stacking for the offlaner. They didn't even play the lane. Then we started seeing the sentry blocking every single game from the enemy supports straight away to take that. And now when your carries, your cores, they come to fight at the shrine, they just immediately look for
Dire's
stacks.
middle tower is under
this is
attack.
some really good evolution here and just ideas changing throughout this patch, throughout this tournament.
Top Katomi will have to grab it. Unfortunately, keep it away from Laurel. That's the most important thing. Juggernaut's still the biggest winner off of this laning phase. Has just been totally free farming those guys. The Underlord has forced Collapse out of lane once or twice.
Very rare
Radiant
battle
structures are fortified.
Great game here once again. Common tool we get to see in it. It is a little bit slower paced. Farming into an item that just helps you farm a little bit more. But it does have the safety of the spin TP. Of course, there is the hook shot, but not the most reliable one necessarily, especially when they're trying to do it in the middle of a wave. They generally have a good idea of how they're trying to escape versus the clockwork.
It does make me worried, though. Feels like there are some. It's going to be kind of hard to get good on these slashes against some of these heroes. It's going to be kind of hard to always make sure you.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Not the freest Juggernaut.
And it feels like, yes, he did win the lane, he farmed really well, but were there other heroes that, you know, with how much attention the supports have gone to mid, like, I feel like there's plenty of heroes
Dire's
that also
middle
could have had
tower is
okay
under
times.
attack.
So you kind of hope that the second half of the game for the Jug adds a lot of value.
I wonder how much this conversation with TA pickup and everything came about.
Dire's middle tower
Team Spirit
has
certainly came into
fallen.
this with a plan.
Yeah.
My goodness, they just swarmed this mid lane non-stop, making sure the Invoker had no game whatsoever, and they were able to do so. You got two side laners that can play solo against heroes, right? Labs, possibility that he dies maybe, but he can always TP away, right? It's double slow. Like, there's nothing really here that can stop him. So he can always TP away. Templar Assassin is always kind of a hard hero to threaten in lane at some point.
Yeah, she's always whittling you down with these side blades. You're never exactly sure just, how much burst she's going to have on you, so it's always a little bit tense.
Later in the lane, your higher levels of refraction are just hard to get through.
Yep.
Especially if you could pull the supports away. Centaur versus a Templar Assassin, there's nothing to do about that.
I mean, how often have you seen Ember get a tower before 9.5 minutes? Well, I mean, I guess it wasn't an Ember, right? It was Ember and two friends. So it, was, it certainly wasn't a fair fight for GPK.
It was a tri-lane. It was
in his defense, he spawns Forge Spirits. So he kind of makes it unfair.
It's a weird 3-on-3.
Yeah, I feel like you deserve to have your buzz come mid.
Radiant's bottom tower is
Not even
under
making
attack.
sure, even if Collapse did get shut down in lane, which he absolutely did not, there was still recovery options here in this triangle.
Where he's going too. He doesn't want his stacks, he wants their stacks.
Yeah, Team Spirit have been really making an MO of taking the enemy stacks away from them. Again, this concept of them playing slower heroes fast, well, they're playing some fast heroes even faster now, as the Ember Spirit's going to chase down the Winter Wyvern. Not having level 6, there's no way out of this one.
We're going to the most farm carry. You're gonna let him die like that. He's right next to you.
Yeah, he's running for the hills.
That's your man.
Part of this.
You know, you give everything to him. He just goes back to spin on some neutrals.
Couldn't even leave him a healing ward.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
As a baby, it could have done something. Okay, he's trying to get something here. As you can see, the stacks are even and on each side.
Yeah, we're going to need camp stacked, and then we're going to need camps taken.
Yeah.
While Boom Boys have, sure, they've
Dire's
stacked,
top
but guess
tower
what?
is
Spirit has
under
taken
attack.
half of those stacks that they've made. Heritage wants to hold his safe lane tower. But is he going to be able to do so? Once again, you've got this Centaur who doesn't really give you a whole lot in this early game. The best he can do is he's going to be pressured to spin and maybe TP out. Here's the spin, there's the TP out, and the hook shot. Rose level 6 and he's here. Heritage, you can't like that. They've got the killer instinct here. They brought Rue up just for that opportunity. Who's going to go out for GPK. Maybe they can get one kill off this. With the sharpshooter and the meteor, they will. But it's going to be worse for Boom Boys. It's going to be Kataomi run down by Laurel. Returns with fresh resources. Chain and chase after save a bit. How many remnants does Laurel have? Is he able to hunt him down back behind the tier 2? No, he's going to give up on it. Got his vessel good to go. It is flying out already.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
This is looking a lot like the last game. Knocking down the mid tower, pressuring into the top tower, getting all this vision, stealing all of your stacks, and you have these heroes who again are pretty dependent
Dire's
on
top
the stacks,
tower
mostly
is
that
under
Evoker
attack.
in this case.
Yeah, they were having this argument in the green room, right? About like everybody is playing slow. Surely one of these teams could punish this play, and it seems like Team Spirit's the one to take up this mantle.
I think the risk was shown in game 1 though, because you saw how it just didn't grow.
Yeah.
Like they were just constantly pressuring everything, but
Dire's
still
top
Boom Boys
tower
were
is
able to
under
keep it
attack.
relatively close. So there still is this pressure. You have to find these kills. You have to keep it up. You can't make any mistakes because if you suddenly get wiped, then all of a sudden all this effort and harder gameplay you've put in, more mental effort,
Dire's
just
top
gets
tower
wasted when
is
you're
under
behind.
attack.
They succeeded game 1.
And would you be able to do this against a team that is even better at playing that, right?
Yeah.
Could you do something like this, Division? Pushback with the cogs. Locked down by the chains. Easy pick up for Laurel. To grow, and Boom Boys, all they can say is, well, we're getting some of our items. They've got a Battle Fury on Juggernaut. But once again, it's going to be them watching Team Spirit run down supports, maybe in run down cores every once in a while they try and push for their first couple of items that will allow them to fight back.
Dire's bottom
Walking
tower
into that
is
same
All the way
bubble.
back here. Wait, what?
Okay, there's no.
The game's over? All right, Boom Boys, go ahead and call. The admin has said that there's no possible way for you to win this game. I'm sorry.
14 minutes. I mean, Insanium want to do this as a bit, but production's in on it, I guess. It's over. Simply call it.
Drew pushing it back. Another Wisdom Shrine taken by Team Spirit. And they're absolutely relentless. This is a Team Spirit that is just going to shove you out of the game as quick as possible. Target is caught back with the stolen meteor. Not me. Okay, good first. Great setup by Kataomi. Can they actually get something off this? Because the zeros are so low. Here comes Laurel. Runs down with the remnants. Like chains on another. 2 kills off of that one. A desperate tiki away works for the Centaur. But there's just no shot. Even with a curse like that, Boom Boys could do nothing to push back against Spirit.
Couldn't connect with a Sunstrike. They couldn't get a finished kill there. At the very least, they only lost their 2 supports, but it's just a sign of what is to come right now. I mean, this is elimination here. On the main stage, you can't go in 2 games like this. And somehow a game that's even looking more devastating at this point.
Yeah, it's looking like once again it's going to be Boom Boys farming, and at some point they say, okay, we've got enough items. They go for one fight, and if that fight fails, we saw what happened last game, right?
Yeah,
The Spirit
we
went from a 5K gold lead to a 12K gold lead, and the game was pretty much over.
Last game, they kept throwing this lead with Tiny. He's running around. He eventually gets the Shadow Blade. We don't have anything. You know, maybe the vision game will be a little bit easier for the side of Boom Boys. Kataomi and Save are running together. They're pairing up with Heritage, but the Jug, I mean, how reliable is an Omni-Slash kill here?
They got to land this bushwhack, and they do. The Omni-Slash paired with it. Beautifully done by Boom Boys. A trap set up and a trap executed.
That pushback so necessary. Well done here.
And the thing is, there was potential for counterplay, right? What if he sliced?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's it.
All that effort would have been for nothing, but they do get it. That pulls back some of the net worth. That'll shut down a little bit of this aggression from Team Spirit.
And
Radiant's
instantly, though,
top
the
tower
D-Ward
is under
comes out.
attack.
Not me. Read him like a book.
Away from Nero. Doesn't save his Helmet Dom creep, though. Drew and Utoro just taking over this area. They know Centaur is going to be a slower offlaner who eventually uses the Helmet Dom. He pulls creeps around, but he farms these areas while he's doing the Helmet Dom shenanigans. Well, what happens if you can't farm these areas? What happens if Utoro is farming you and your creep?
Still an Underlord Axe here.
They had the Underlord Axe, set it up perfectly. Here comes the Mel Strike. The roll is solo. He actually went in. It's absolute madman. He went in for that. A curse goes off, but he's so low. A blood grenade thrown after him. Everything they have, the Sunstrike. Oh, is that too? Laurel, he's untouchable. You can't stop this guy. A cog hit. Heritage goes down. Now it's coming back in. Oh my God, Laurel once more. He gets another kill with it.
Oh, he's breaking ankles and breaking hearts. Laurel takes down
Dire's
GPK.
middle tower is under
They're
attack.
trying so hard to find the fight, to find the moment. They've already lived through this once. You're supposed to see it in slow motion. You've been here. But it's just the same story. It's Groundhog Day for Boom Boys.
It's reoccurring nightmares of something that they can't wake up
Dire's
from.
middle tower
I mean,
is
we
under
saw
attack.
this Ember Spear cut so low at the start of the fight. It looks okay.
This looks like one of the best Underlord X opens I've ever
Dire's
seen.
top
Oh, yeah.
tower
You know,
is
60
under
minutes,
attack.
he's so far. He comes streaming in with Not Me.
Dire's
And then
top
Laurel,
tower
I
has
mean, the
fallen.
guy's head, like the mental stack to stay alive in the situation. You can just think of the Sunstrike with everything else going on. Like, what a comeback.
So smooth with it. Heritage gets diced up by the Templar Assassin. That one wasn't even close. I didn't even see what the Omni Slash did. I assume it did not do a whole lot because
Oh, he's back.
outside of Laurel getting low, whew, Heritage back to pounding dead. Unable to get his hands on Team Spirit. Again, all these late shenanigans. Guess what? There's the hook shot, pushing you back away, and the cancel on the TP2. Stuck up in this corner, a corner he will stay in. If Rue has anything to say about it, Miro turns, nowhere to run. He knows he's dead. Beautifully played by Rue.
I have never seen so much action occur on this set of stairs
Tower is
than in this
under
game.
attack.
Yes.
They are just trying to live here on this Centaur and getting punished over and over again. Yautaro will take the tower as a prize. He now gets his Lotus. I mean, this is just... It's everything of
Dire's
last
bottom
game and just
tower is
so much
under
worse for them.
attack.
Boom Boys, they found a lot of good successes. It is true in the last game. And they're going to have to channel every
Dire's
little bit of it.
bottom tower has
Try to find that one play. I mean, it's
From the
a bad
cog.
side.
Oh, man.
He must have so much hero damage. It is unbelievable how many cogs. Take it back a step here. Run the next round of items. Chasm Stone next on Collapse. Make that ult even better. Pressure does not let.
Oh, another three-man gate opening as they get the two supports a little bit locked. On the rest of the team, it's going to get here. Heritage has to use the spin, make a run for it. Winner's Curse locking down Laurel, but just for a pittance. It's still going to be Laurel hunting down Katomi. And just going to win a Wyvern out of that. A little bit surprising considering the number of heroes caught inside of that initial gate opening there. But they also walk away with an interesting prize, a Winner's Curse.
Yeah, a very split fight to start.
Oh, maybe they get GPK as well. He wants to hunt down with this one. Keeps on poking at Katomi with the cogs, but they want Heritage. And Heritage is trying to go through the gate, but no, that's going to be stopped by the Shackles and Laurel.
Like,
Yeah, we played some overthrow.
yeah, it just doesn't feel right, you know? With the way some of these matches have gone, it feels like they've just cracked a code here and just said, nah, we're a little better than this. Or we're going to play our own game here.
Dire's top
That's a
tower
21-minute
is under
butterfly.
attack.
Yeah, good look. Go ahead on Omni Slash, the Templar Assassin. Refraction plus Butterfly, okay. 14 charges on that Deso. Miro is desperately trying to find farm out of the map because he knows his side of the map is completely occupied by Team Spirit. So all he can do is play near the Radiant tier 2s.
Dire's middle tower is
Little
under
secret
attack.
hack down here, and he does not dare go back. Danger lurks in his own jungle. An air of menace is about the Dire side, so let's go over to the much friendlier looking Radiant jungle.
And I love how efficiently that both of these lineups, 14 Spirit, because they the Slardar with Corrosive Haze, now with the Templar Assassin, just away from Boom Boys. And this one, they can take Tormentor in rotation. Around a Ghostwalk stolen for not being. Nice block there from Miro doing what he can.
He's really pulling all the stops to just try and live here, but his base is in shambles at the same time.
Yeah, go ahead, cut as many waves as you want bottom. It's the top lane where the tier 3 is going to fall.
Middle tower is under attack.
Punching their ticket into tomorrow right now.
Yeah, I mean, we started the series right. One of these teams wants a fast 2-0. I was kind of maybe but like Team Spirit.
Storyline building, guys.
Yeah.
You didn't have to take it so literally.
They actually came here to end this series in under an hour of game time. One lane of Barracks already gone at 26 minutes. Boom Boys.
Dire's middle
They're going to hold on as long as they can. And this is elimination at TI. But it feels like they don't have anything. A smoke wraparound here. Going to be broken by Laurel. He's going to hit the stop. Going to get the pushback afterwards. And the sharpshooter. shot attempted long, hits off the BKB. Stampede stolen by the Rubik. They're gonna activate that once again. Laurel's just gonna toy with them. 100 HP, 200 HP, it doesn't matter. He just keeps on trucking at you. They do have the Omni Slash in the back line, so once again, Na'Vi steals that one. Used it back on the Juggernaut. Laurel finishes off the Winder Wyvern at low HP. GPK diving into the base. Giotoro to try and finish him off. Needs some help from his team in order to get vision on this guy. He'll chase after saves all the way into the tier 4s. They have the gate to lock him down. Giotoro off the side blade. Can't quite finish him off. First game is back around on the Kiritich with the spin. Running, trying to get back to the fountain to stay alive. Another gate to hold him here. The Firestorm trying to finish him off. He gets the back. The Cold Embrace keeps him alive, but GPK dies. He got away once, doesn't get away twice, and he's going to have to buy back if they want to be able to hold a second lane of barracks that is rapidly falling to Yutoro. Look at him, he's got 15 seconds left on the Aegis. He doesn't care. He's trying to kill heroes inside of the fountain right now.
Not me chucking these Sunstrikes in, trying to help Yotaro fountain farm.
Blood Grenade, they're desperately trying to stop Yutoro from getting outside the base so we won't get the Aegis regen. Their only chance of killing him is if he stays at the 20 HP mark, but 20% HP. But rather, Yutoro gets away, now back to the full. Elena Barracks.
20 seconds to the person back up here. Oh no, Sunstrikes.
Damage on Kiritich, man.
Burning his fighter set. Healing Ward barely doing anything.
Side blade, almost finish him off.
Healing Ward now helping Yotaro too. It wasn't hard enough already.
Yutoro just one after another, right?
Yeah.
Oh, the Juggernaut's gonna stop me? No. Okay, now the Star? No. Yeah, that's just one after the other. Who's next? Who's next? Who's got me?
The Royal Rumble, currently Yotaro waiting.
There's the curse. Got 3, and it's a TA pummeling his own Underlord. Glass finally dies. Now they got the Rod of Atos. Under not me as well. Hit it with the softball up. Omni Flash to kill not me. No stealing it this time around. Daywall Laurel inside the base with a godlike, with the damage coming in from the Templar Assassin. They push back Blue Boys, even with an excellent curse like that. You can't stop Spirit. Shot deeper, and Hoodwink, the side blade hitting Kiritich all the way in the back. He's hiding inside of his fountain right now because he can't just take the heat. The Yutoro is throwing at him time after time. Laurel is low here. No remnant. They can actually make got him on the Rod of Atos, but here he can't stick to him, man. The Sunstrike in land. GPK finally gets the kill. They got one of these cores. They killed 2 of them. What about Yutoro?
Oh, it's a toss-out from Na'Vi. 'But really anyone. Like, you think about division games and domination they've shown, I still haven't seen Dota like that.
No.
Like, this is a totally different beast that you have to look at now. You know, it's getting late into the night. You got to do a little bit of studying to make sure that doesn't happen to you tomorrow.
Exactly, right? It feels like so many of these teams, they figured out how to be able to play the map. You know, the conversation between Vision and Yandex. Oh, yeah, we both like to do this split push. Yeah, and like,
you put this
maybe they like a little bit more team fight or something. Team Spirit's like, screw all that. Let's just run them over, man. Screw all these games. Let's just take them out. Ready to go for the ultimate day is Laurel.
恭喜 Team Spirit 赢下这场比赛，他们也是锁定了自己 TI 2026前3的名额。
Laurel, what's the rush today, man? You 2-0'd Team Liquid. You got a quick 2-0 against the Boom Boys. This isn't a very fast game of Dota from you guys. I want to know how your form is right now.
斯纳米问他说：“拉尔，你在急什么？今天早上2-0了 Liquid， 今天晚上又2-0了 BB， 2场都是非常快速的结束比赛，请跟我们分享一下。”
I mean, we're feeling good. We can play slow, we can play fast, like play late game, try to pressure enemies. If you have good lanes, like matchups, we can pressure, like in this game, like a lot of pressure by my supports and me. So we're in a good shape.
Marvel at the spectacle. Well played.
并不是一模一样的，我只是觉得我们现在的状态还是比较不错的。
You have one more opponent before you can make it to Grand Finals. Yandex has been a demon for you guys all season long. At this point, do you feel that any team matters to you, or it's just 5 players? It doesn't matter who they are, you're going to beat them.
他们即将面对另外一个大魔王，那就是 Yandex。这支队伍在过去几个月当中，给他们造成了很多的困难，包括把他们淘汰掉了几场不一样的比赛。想问他说，在面对 Yandex 这样的一个对手面前，他会不会有一些不一样的想法
I mean, Yandex here is also some kryptonite for us all year. So right now I think we can easily play against them, like even in Parivision. So we're just gonna try our best. Also, they're good team. They play really well. So we just need to perform well, like today. So and we can beat them.
Yandex 确实啦，他是我们的老对手了，而且我们在对阵他们的时候，感觉 Yandex 也是比较强劲的。但是我相信现在的我们既可以击败 Yandex， 也甚至可以击败 Vision， 所以我们就觉得明天的比赛我们要打得像今天这样好，找到这样最佳的状态，也许问题就不大了。
I love what Lal is standing out there and saying after a quick 4-0 day for them here to be able to make a run in the lower bracket that they have been doing is they're willing to play slow, they're willing to play fast, they're willing to play any play style that will give them the advantage over their opponent. And it feels like now you don't really get to have this comparative one-to-one play style matchup conversation, Effie, because there is so much more that Spirit are bringing to the table than necessarily other competitors right now at TI.
I mean, this is their tournament. Like, we've seen this plot before. They're just a wrecking ball in the lower bracket. And honestly, that felt like they were bullying Boom Boys a little bit. At some point, it just hurt to watch that. Everything was going wrong for them. Laurel wasn't letting them breathe. The supports were just cooking in their entirety from the start of the game to the very end. And unfortunately for Boom Boys, they just couldn't cut it.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, that's TI. It's very difficult, and whenever you run into a team that is just unbelievably in form like that, sometimes you just crumble. So massive props to Spirit, but I feel for Boom Boys. I know what it's like to be eliminated from TI, and so, you know, it's always sad to see them go, but Spirit, man, you can run, you can hide, but it's not going to matter. They're going to run you over anyway, and this team is so electric to watch at this tournament. It's so sick.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I really love what Laurel also brought up in the interview. They found a way to play fast. This isn't something that's been typical for them. And he also says that it is different from the year in Seattle, right? They are playing a different way of Dota. It's different team, different players. They're found new ways to play the game. And it's really awesome to see like this kind of old team level up and discover new ways to play.
Yeah, but that was the thing. I already talked about that Spirit and as an org had gone through the upper bracket and the lower bracket to TI, but they're doing it for the players that weren't there for the lower bracket TI-10 run, they go, lol hasn't gotten an Aegis just yet. And I know I'm getting ahead of myself, but when you see the display that was on show here from Spirit, it really is hard to not put them in that conversation straight away of them looking towards that grand final, even though they still have to play the lowers.
Yeah, it would be amazing if on their first year joining Spirit, like not me, gets an Aegis. I remember when Team Spirit won their second Aegis, Yataro basically said that they wanted to do it for Laurel, and they just have this sense of wanting to bring their newer players in and experience that feeling, and I just can't wait to see what happens tomorrow.
There's more for them looking towards that, but right now we do have to say an unfortunate goodbye to Boom Boys, who should be very confident in their top 4 finish here.
Yeah, thank you. I'm here with Miero from Boom Boys. Miero, first of all, we're very sorry that you guys have been knocked out of the tournament. Thanks for taking the time to talk to us. It felt like this was a tough break for you guys to bump into a Spirit team in such good form like that. Before the tournament, but before the main stage began, Save said that top 3 was the aim for the team. Are you still happy with a top 4 finish here in a tough field?
在淘汰赛开打之前 ，Save 有提到过目标成绩是前3、前4，也是不错的成绩。在那么竞争激烈的 TI， 你会不会对这个成绩感到自豪？
Of course, we're happy with this result. Have nothing to say about. Yeah.
Fair enough.
我们肯定是对自己的成绩感到自豪的，其他的也无需多说了。
You guys got second place in EWC before the tournament. You got top 4 here. Team seems to be going from strength to strength, getting better and better results. Are we going to see you guys kick on next year and really start pulling in some big wins?
队伍在这个赛季其实成绩都是不错的，在 EWC 拿了亚军，然后这个比赛成绩也很好。我们有没有机会看到你们队伍再次冲刺？
Yeah, of course, we're happy with this result, and I want to say thanks to every fan that support us.
So the fans have been supporting you guys all year. There's a lot of fans here. How much energy does it give you to have them cheering for you guys throughout this TI?
You guys giving me a lot of energy. Спасибо всем, кто поддерживал. Очень люблю вас, ребята.
我们其实非常高兴，有很多支持我们的粉丝，现场的观众也很热情。
Thank you so much, Piri, Miero, of course, Helen, they're translating to. I mean, Miero, it's such a tough situation to be in where you feel confident in what you're coming up against, but knowing that at the end of the day, it's such a formidable opponent in the likes of Spirit, and you're this close to reaching the final day of TI. And that is, like, yes, lifting the Aegis is the ultimate goal, but I think there's something a little extra special about hitting a top 3, making it to the final day to get to see the whole extent of a tournament here like the International.
Yeah, it's tough. It sucks. It sucks to fall just short of the final day. And I think you can kind of see it from the way he responds to those questions that, I mean, he knows they got wrecked. They got outplayed, and that just feels bad. And sometimes there's nothing to say, right? You can say thank you to the fans, and yeah, we're happy with the result, right? You can understand that I'm very grateful to have made it this far and have great teammates and to be a top-tier team. But at the end of the day, it just sucks to lose. It sucks to get whopped like that. And you just have to feel for the guy. You know, I'm sure he's gonna keep trying and keep playing in the future. He's a great player with a great future who's still relatively new to the scene. People don't think about that because he acts like such a veteran presence. So, you know, you feel for him, and you know, I look forward to seeing him in the future.
Yeah, he's been such a positive force in Boom Boys and changing their issues that they've had in the past with maybe toxic environments and tilting, and they've really had to have changed since Miero joined them. I do feel quite bad because it feels like they get so close in so many tournaments and they just lose to anxiety, they lose to nerves. It feels like this team has such a high floor, but their ceiling feels a little bit lower than all of the other teams that we see make it this far in TI. And I'm not sure where you go from here, to be honest.
I'm hoping that there is a lot of longevity in the Boom Boys roster. It's insane to be able to be so consistent in those top 4 finishes and to maybe disregard that for what might potentially not necessarily be a strong season for them if they were to make a lot of changes. But it's a tough one to really be in. And we were looking at our bracket just there. Today has been an incredibly heart-wrenching day. And this always happens, Insania, when you get to this point of the international, is we went from a top 6 to a top 3. We said goodbye to Liquid earlier. We said goodbye to Enigma Galaxy. Most notably, Sumail essentially saying this was going to be his last event, full stop. Not even necessarily last TI. And then, of course, here following that up with the goodbyes of Boom Boys too.
Yeah, I mean, it's always sad to see people go home, but that's just the truth of any tournament and any championship like this. It's only one team can win in the end, so it's sad, and I feel for Boom Boys. They've been very close for so many years, and I know what that feels like personally from getting second place a lot. So I hope they keep fighting, and I think that it will come. Their time will come.
For 3 teams, the fight still is on, though. We haven't crowned our champion by any means. That joy comes tomorrow. We are going to have our final day of our Shanghai International in 2026. It's going to start off with Yandex and Spirit in that lower bracket final starting at 10 a.m. There's a lot of fun content to come between that lower bracket finals and our grand finals. I think most notably the cosplay contest. People love that every year, and so by no means are we going to be looking over that one. That one's going to be a lot of fun to get to warm you up and whet the appetite going into the grand finals.
Yeah, it's good content, and I think it's cool to celebrate the people in the scene that aren't just the players. There's a lot of fans and people that appreciate and enjoy the game in other ways than just playing it, and so I think that's really cool, and we should celebrate that, enjoy that, and I look forward to, all aspects of the game, not just the actual gameplay.
I mean, I'm just excited to see my first China cosplay contest. I've heard incredible things about it, that they have the best cosplayers and the best outfits, and it'll be a treat.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting, and like Quinn said, TI is actually so much more than just the players. It's a celebration of all the fans. It's a celebration of all the people. It's all the people around us. And it's awesome that we get to do this cosplay contest to highlight more than just the players.
I know how full this arena was throughout the day, and the fact that it's only this Saturday. We still have our Sunday to come for the international. I can only imagine how loud it's going to get, how electric it's going to feel in this arena. But we're going to say goodbye to you guys for now. Make sure you tune in for our final day of TI 15 tomorrow, because we get to crown our champion here in Shanghai.
swift. Dire's bottom tower is under attack. Dire's structures are fortified. Dire's bottom tower is under attack.